Many farmers put on volunteer vests to help out at Tzu Chi rice seed distribution in Bago, Myanmar. A Taoyuan Tzu Chi volunteer dedicates herself to Tzu Chi's work no matter what challenges come her way. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Su. Thank you for joining us. We begin our program with news from Myanmar. In Myanmar, Tzu Chi volunteers conducted the second rice seed distribution in Bago province. Many farmers volunteered to help out at the event, including the director for the Ministry of Agriculture. In the aftermath of the floods last year, many farmers have been in debt. Therefore, they look forward to receiving Tzu Chi's rice seeds to relieve their burdens. Let's take a look. With the mung bean seeds distributed by Tzu Chi last year, this farmer had good harvest. Otherwise, she already sold her own mung bean seeds because she needed to pay for her mother's medical bills.
My mother fell ill in July of last year, and therefore I sold my mung bean seeds after using up my savings. My mother passed away in August. Fortunately, I had a good harvest with the mung bean seeds distributed by Tzu Chi.
The volunteers started to prepare for the second rice seed distribution before daybreak. They prayed sincerely to unite everyone. Since it got foggy on the remote roads, it took the volunteers a long time to reach the distribution venue. The farmers work in a relay to help the volunteers carry the supplies.
Since I started working at the Ministry of Agriculture, this is my first time volunteering. It is also my first time seeing such a large-scale distribution. I'm touched to see how the volunteers put their work aside to come help out.
The volunteers accompany the farmers as they sign up to receive the rice.
我们通宵了2个晚上啊。
所以你做的每一个部分你都有 keyboard 掉。
一点点而已，来这边配合当地的师姐太辛苦了。
They have suffered much in the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis. When we came 10 years ago, it was different from now. The place has developed much. We had scarce resources 10 years ago, but they are still facing hardship. Therefore, I hope to stay here longer.
我希望我可以再逗留久一点点。
As the volunteers distribute the rice seeds, they've also planted seeds of love in the minds of the farmers, which will sprout and grow with great love. Tzu Chi volunteers have delivered love into the villages in Lesotho. During the 3-day winter aid distributions, the volunteers have given rice to the villagers. Although it was tiring, but the volunteers were glad to help many people in need. On the other hand, the volunteers were invited to a local primary school to teach Jingsi aphorisms to the students. Let's join them there.
Love from Taiwan.
Under the sun, the villagers are beaming with smiles. The children are carrying the rice, which was delivered from Taiwan.
Today, we reminded them that when we have something to eat, we still must remember that we have to eat 80% and then to save 20% for others.
Tzu Chi volunteers have conducted 3-day winter distributions in the villages of northern Lesotho. Besides delivering daily supplies, the volunteers also spread the concepts of doing good deeds to the villagers. At the Borokoni village, the volunteers were invited to a primary school to introduce Jingsi aphorisms.
They have vulnerable children. Sister Violet asked us to come and maybe show love and learn together with them Jingsi aphorisms, what we want to share to these children.
The principal of the primary school regularly invites the volunteers to come and cultivate children's moral character. Lesotho is one of the poorest countries in the world. Tzu Chi volunteers has been in the country for more than 20 years, helping people in need. Although the people have suffered from poverty, but they are grateful for what they have. In the beginning of 2019, Lesotho Tzu Chi volunteers have been traveling across the country to visit the impoverished villages. In addition, they visited Vapuchu, a small town in South Africa, to care for the families who needed help. This journey of delivering love started with a local volunteer who was devoted to her work as a volunteer. She has been planting the seeds of kindness in many places, hoping to inspire one's compassionate giving. As we can see, the spirit of great love has been spread to different corners of the world.
City volunteers in South Africa have been providing love and help to the underprivileged for more than 20 years. In early February, the volunteers held a Lunar New Year prayer ceremony. Despite the rain, many people came together to pray for the world. Let's join them there.
It's been raining for a week, even on the day of the Lunar New Year prayer ceremony. Tzu Chi volunteers immediately joined the tents together into a shielded walkway.
我叫你一边就丢你。
The volunteers were very worried that if the rain would affect the number of people attending today's event. But it's the same today. Nobody worried about the rain, and they all came to our prayer ceremony. I also noticed that when the event began, the rain stopped and the sun came out.
Despite the weather, the venue is filled with joy. While looking back at the events from last year, the attendees shed tears when they see the scenes of volunteers giving help.
When I was looking at the 2018 year in review, the master's words really touched me. I like to use her words as my motivation and vow. She said that even though she had no money, but as long as she had the strength, she would do it to the end. I feel this is a type of persistence, and I hope this positive force will not just influence me, but also people around me.
我们慈济基金会在南非各地对到贫困的一个社区都能够把我们装入个政府。
Tzu Chi Foundation has been working with our government to give rice to everyone in various poor communities of South Africa. I was lucky to be part of it. When I saw local people's expressions of happiness, I feel Tzu Chi Foundation has done a lot of good deeds, not just in South Africa, but also around the world. I hope this spirit under the Master's guidance will continue to grow.
The Tzu Chi South Africa chapter is preparing to build a Jinsu Hall. They pray that with enough help, their spiritual home will come to reality.
City volunteers in Mozambique held a Lunar New Year prayer ceremony. At the event, volunteers put on a skit promoting vegetarianism. Some villagers said that they've learned from the skit that it's important to love animals and protect the environment. Let's take a look. Local volunteers in Mozambique worked together to hold the Lunar New Year prayer ceremony. They surprised everyone by singing in Chinese. Volunteers put on a skit to promote vegetarianism. The volunteer who dresses in black and crawls on the ground is acting the role of a cow who's about to be slaughtered in a prayer ritual. However, the drought has affected the growth of the crops. The chief said that it is an environmental warning signal.
The skits left a deep impression on me. The lesson has reminded us to be aware that there is a difference between eating vegetables and meat.
I have a younger brother who refrains from eating meat. I remember when I wanted to slaughter chicken, he cried. He said that he could feel the animals trembling, so he chose to eat vegetables. Not only do humans have feelings, animals also have emotions. Although we are not them, we should think of them.
The skit taught us that adopting a vegetarian diet is loving animals. After all, for us to eat beef, we need to slaughter cows. As we eat fish, we are also killing animals.
Villagers receive red envelopes of blessing and wisdom and the best wishes that come with them. The Lunar New Year prayer ceremony in Mozambique aims to inspire people to be compassionate. Tzu Chi volunteers in different communities in Taiwan have held various Lunar New Year gatherings. In Shilin, Taipei, a newly certified Tzu Chi commissioner, Zhang Yufeng, seized the occasion to tell everyone how she overcame her bad temper after attending study groups. Meanwhile, in Taoyuan County, 30 couples who were recently certified Tzu Chi commissioners went on the stage to receive everyone's well wishes. Let's take a look at these Tzu Chi New Year gatherings.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Taipei hold an event with drums and guns to welcome spring. The average age is over 50 years old, but they are as mighty as young people in beating the drums. These new volunteers are also very creative in using all kinds of items to present a musical performance. Zhang Yufeng is one of them. She is a single mother, but she was once quite opinionated.
In the past, I'd often dislike someone for being picky, but then I heard the Jinsi aphorism, which says that if we dislike someone, it means we don't have good cultivation.
In Taoyuan County, this spring event welcomed 30 couples who are new volunteers to go on stage and speak about each other.
She lied to me to bring me here. She told me that after I came, I could learn to take pictures until I mastered it, and it was free.
I didn't cheat him. Actually, I used what the master calls appropriate method.
This couple's story is the most touching.
While my wife was hospitalized, the care and support of many fellow volunteers allowed us to stand up again.
The volunteers bless each other with well wishes and also hold on to these rare affinities to be in the same organization.
In our next report, we'll meet a dedicated Taoyuan Tzu Chi volunteer, Wu Ling. She had worked really hard for more than 20 years after getting married. Then 10 years ago, she learned about Tzu Chi and was certified as a Tzu Chi commissioner. Unfortunately, soon after that, she was diagnosed with bladder cancer. Despite her illness, she continues to volunteer diligently. She said that while Tzu Chi does not need her, she cannot live without Tzu Chi. Let's meet this dedicated Tzu Chi volunteer. One day I passed by an area where our Jinsi Hall was under construction. I was curious, so I walked in there. Hey, I can do this work. Then they told me doing this work does not pay. I said that's all right, I can do this work. Seeing how thin and small in stature, they say you won't be able to do this work. I smiled and replied, let me try. Once I started working, I pushed the handles easily. One person asked, why is your gesture so accurate? I said, I've been doing this work for 25 years. This is my job.
Wu Lingyu's agile work has won everyone's praise. She has learned to do this work after getting married.
My family was doing construction. To save money, we lived in a workers' dormitory hut. As we built houses for people, we did not have houses to live in. When I was working on a construction site, I woke up at sometime past 4 a.m. I cooked for the workers. After they finished eating and doing the dishes, they started working. I also worked up there. Therefore, I was working 2 jobs. I was working diligently like a spinning top. Then at nighttime, I would get really tired and fall asleep right away.
After working for more than 20 years, Wu Li has certified as a Tzu Chi commissioner. When she was about to enjoy her family life, she was diagnosed with 3rd-stage bladder cancer.
Four years ago, we went to Hualien to volunteer in the hospital for 8 days. Back then, she had just undergone her surgery. Our medical team leader told me to take special care of her. However, Sister Lingyu said there's no need. She did not look like someone who had just undergone the surgery.
For the past 5 years, after each of my 18 treatments was completed, I will head to Hualien to volunteer in the hospital for several days. Since I'm also a patient, I can relate to other patients.
As someone who suffers from illness, Wu Li can care for the patients with empathy.
Look at me, I underwent 5 surgeries in a year. Look how brave I am. I trust the doctor and pray to the Bodhisattva. When the doctor told me that my entire bladder needed to be taken out, I thought to myself, so I have no dignity. I have not reached my goal. I haven't done enough Tzu Chi's work. In addition, I want others to make use of my body, as I want to become a body donor.
Uli volunteers despite her illness. Even when she was in the operation room, she still sees the chance to inspire people's compassion.
The doctor said he was about to operate on me, and I still wanted to go to Hualien. I smiled and said I would also like to solicit donations from you. I did not succeed as he replied that he's a Christian. When I went to him in the clinic, I also said to him, love transcends religious differences. To inspire your compassion, we can overcome the differences.
Seizing every minute to do good deeds is how she has been living with cancer.
I once arrived at the Jinsi Hall at 4 a.m. and volunteered till 7 or 8 p.m. I said that I did not need other volunteers to work my shift. I kept saying that as we clean the restrooms, we can pray that our children and grandchildren will attend graduate schools. That everyone eagerly said they would join me in the cleaning. If I can volunteer for a whole day without feeling the pain of illnesses, I will feel that I have earned another day. In the past, when I was doing construction, I could lift something as heavy as 50 kilograms. This is really light as it is less than 5 kilograms. Being able to do something meaningful makes me really happy. Therefore, I say that Tzu Chi does not need me, but I cannot live without Tzu Chi. I now work busily making a large profit with zero risk. I earn a lot and even smile in my sleep. Although the first part of my life was filled with challenges, the later part of my life is really blessed. In Indonesia, a young man became paralyzed from the waist down after an auto accident in 2003. Since then, his mother has been caring for him wholeheartedly. He has regained his confidence through painting. As his artworks are very delicate, many VIPs in Indonesia, including entrepreneurs and a former First Lady, own his art pieces. He said that he does not aim to become a famous artist, but he simply hopes he can benefit the public through his artworks.
If I do what I enjoy doing, I would forget about everything else. For example, when I'm painting, I would forget about time and all the suffering. Therefore, it is a type of therapeutic process for me.
Saat itu ya shock banget lah. Nama Rodi itu kecelakaan di sini nih nggak bisa apa-apa ya Allah. Bingung, shock banget pokoknya.
When Rodi became paralyzed from the waist down due to the auto accident, I was completely in shock. In addition, at the time, I also had another 6-month-old baby to look after. When I learned that he was in a hospital not being able to move about, I was really fearful. Back then, I was really shaken to the core.
Ternyata yang membuat aku tersiksa itu ternyata.
Later, I realized that what led to my suffering was not the fact that I'm paralyzed. It was my incorrect thoughts and perspective on life.
Ya alhamdulillah, walaupun aku masih pemula banget, bisa dibilang 5 tahun berjalan ini ya aku melukis.
I'm very grateful that although I've only been painting for 5 years, some VIPs in Indonesia already own some of my art pieces. These include the 6th First Lady, Ani, the minister in Indonesia, and some entrepreneurs, etc.
Ibu cuman minta Rodi jaga baik-baik kesehatan.
I only hope that he can take good care of his health and not forget about the blessings given by Allah. I hope he'll always harbor gratitude in his heart.
Oh, kalau handal sih enggak ya, tapi aku pengennya sih menjadi pelukis yang.
Becoming an outstanding artist is not my goal. I simply hope that my works can be beneficial to other people. That is all. I do not want to become a famous artist. I simply want to beneficial society through my art pieces. For me, that would be more than enough.
DaAi Technologies R&D has proved useful in developing products for disaster relief. The first such items were blankets distributed in fire in the Philippines in 2007. Later, puncture-proof shoes and gloves have been developed, as well as windproof jackets.
In August of last year, a flood in Chiayi saw members of the army move in to help clean up the debris. Tzu Chi Foundation was also on the scene, handing out the latest technology in the form of gloves to protect their hands.
This is puncture-proof and you have stronger grip when grabbing things. It is very useful as there are things in those planks and other debris that could hurt soldiers' hands.
While protecting both hands is important, the same can be said of feet. This pair of anti-puncture white shoes is already in the second generation.
This helps avoid injury for those responding to earthquake disasters, as some areas have nails which can puncture.
This is the latest 2-in-1 jacket, which provides immediate warmth. Tzu Chi Global Volunteer Affairs Executive Director Stephen Huang wore this jacket in Moscow with minus 30-degree temperature.
I hope that in the country with the world's largest landmass, Russia, could have Tzu Chi footprints.
This bag is light and practical and can be used as a chair and a shield. It can also be used to protect you. With love and compassion as a starting point, DaAi Technology has for the past decade pursued innovation and to safeguard volunteers and survivors at the front line of disaster. In 2007, the Tzu Chi blankets made from recycled PET bottles were sent to survivors in the Philippines. This is an example of compassionate technology.
Dharma Master Zheng Yan loves her disciples very much, so DaAi Technology has developed these products to fight disasters. When doing disaster relief, this can protect them. This is compassion and love.
Over the past year, more than 1 million environmentally friendly blankets have been sent from Taiwan to alleviate the suffering in more than 30 countries and regions. Showing love and compassion will continue.
In Jakarta, Indonesia, the city government held a Lantern Festival celebration in Chinatown. For 2 days, Chinatown was filled with holiday festivities. We'll leave you with these images at the end of our program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.